Well, good day viewers and welcome back to Colour in Your Life. The things we do for art's pretty amazing. I've just been riding on a freezing cold winter day down near Shepparton, near Merrigum, on a Harley Davidson, and I've come to see an amazing artist, Mr. John Anderson. Welcome to the show, mate.
Graham, thank you.
It's wonderful to be here. We're actually in John's shed at the moment, and he's going to be taking us through the process today of actually how he puts his canvases together. And he makes his own, and they're pretty spectacular looking stretches as well. But John and I have a very similar situation as far as our careers is concerned, is that we're both avid, or I was once, bird painters. And John's a naive artist that paints birds in a really spectacular way. You'll see a lot of the images screened in as we go along. Where did that influence come from? I mean, why do you? And I know that you spent a little bit of time in Indonesia. You're a teacher. I mean, John's really the quintessential artist as far as sculptor, pottery, ceramics. The guy does it all. Extremely right-brained man, unbelievably creative. How did all that start? And how did you develop that style that you got now?
Well, in the beginning, I started drawing small pictures and painting small paintings. Yep. And over the last sort of 20 odd years, I've evolved to creating this product. I
mean, your style is extremely different to what I've seen, particularly when it comes to portraying our Australian native birds. And you're an expert on the Latin terminologies with them as well. I mean, you really want to know everything about start to finish. You had Neville Cayley's book.
What bird is that?
What bird is that? And that's obviously influenced you a lot of the way. And
huge influence on me as a child.
Yeah, as a kid, you've obviously started drawing, but developed this style yourself, and it's extremely individual. It's amazing what he's done. Developed it to where it is now, and we're going to go through the process today with John and see how he puts these stretches together. Talk a little bit about his history as well as we go along, and then we're going to go into his studio inside his beautiful country home, and we're going to see some more of his works in there, and then we're going to go through a couple of different processes a day on how he puts together what he does. So it's going to be a really exciting day. Pity it's so damn cold.
It's okay. It's warm here.
We'll get the fires. There's fireplaces everywhere. But we'll make a start on it, okay?
Sounds good to me.
Excellent.
Okay, today I'm going to show you how I make a frame. First of all, I buy this timber, 3.5 inch hardwood plantation timber architrave, Australian hardwood, and I get them to plane the back off it. So I've got a nice flat back. Then, with my tape measure, I make my measures, and I make a cut like this.
Pretty simple.
It's fairly straightforward, fairly simple.
But you like that wide format, don't you?
I love that deep format frame.
Yeah, it's very iconic towards your work as well.
I get a chance, I can write my signature on it.
Yeah.
I can tell the story around the edge. I don't have to put anything on the frame, on the front.
All right, now what now?
Okay, so next I'd make a 45-degree cut. And I always work nice and clean. Okay, well now I've cut out 4 pieces of timber which will eventually become my frame. So what I have to do is I'll put it over here on the bench and I'll measure it up and see if it's all fitting nicely together.
That's a good idea. No point in starting to stick it together if it doesn't fit properly, does it?
So the next stage of the process is I drill some holes, which is easier than to just nail the timber, the nail into the wood. Always work clean. Try to be fairly precise with your measurements and your cuts. Done.
Excellent.
Okay, the next stage of assembling this frame, I'm going to tack it together. So first of all, I put a little bit of glue.
So you need a lot of glue or just?
Oh, just enough.
Just enough to
make it happen.
Sure.
And then I literally tack it together. Okay, so I've tacked these together here. I'll turn it around and tack the other corners together like this. The next part of the frame that I'm going to put in is the brace in the middle. Sometimes when you stretch the canvas, if you pull it a bit too tight, you end up with your frame shaped like this. So you've got to keep it fairly well braced. I have a piece of timber here, and I just measure it to the size of the timber and cut it. So I've put a bit of glue on there. I've marked out basically my centre, and now I just tack it together. And repeat the process. So we've finished the frame. Now let's stretch some canvas over that frame.
So what type of canvas you got here?
This is a 7-ounce cotton duck. That's enough.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Lovely.
Now, we're putting this curved edge down. Okay, with my little ruler, I've marked out 3 inches for the depth plus ½ an inch for the width. So we want to cut out 4 inches of canvas all the way around. Okay, that's pretty much what I do here.
Okay.
And with my trusty pair of scissors, I will cut out
all the way through.
Actually, right to the end. I go.
Okay. Okay.
To begin stretching the canvas, I would start off in the middle on both ends. I would pull it fairly tight with my fingers just to get it going, and I would put in a staple.
So now you go to the other side. So you go 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
Yep, and keep opposites as you're going around.
9 o'clock, okay.
So I lift the canvas up
Yep.
to the edge,
And then,
hold on to it, pull it not too tight.
yeah.
And then I just repeat the process.
Okay, so you got an iron there, bud.
Yes, this is the final stage of preparing this canvas, and those folds that we made before, I iron them in and iron them nice and flat.
Oh yeah.
Get these edges nice and neat, nice and flat.
Look at that. All right, John, that's amazing. It's tight as a drum as well. But generally what you would do now is you would prime this.
That's right.
That'll take a little while to dry, but what we're going to do is we're going to go into John's studio and we're going to go through some techniques on some canvases that he's got in there on just how he does what he does. It's really fascinating, really fine work, and as I said, a very naive type style. But let's head into the studio and we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, we've just come out of the shed and done the canvas with John, stretched it all, looks fantastic. In John's studio at the moment. Now, he's got a couple of studios, he gets around the country quite a bit, but we're in his studio down at Merrigum, and as you can see, he's made a really solid start on a painting, but we're going to go through a little bit of a few things. It's very from the heart, your work, isn't it?
It's a very organic style, absolutely.
Yeah, but what we're going to do is, he's suddenly come to a place where he's really not happy with this particular section in here.
Well, what happened was when I composed this piece and I started painting it, I realised I've got the black neck coming over the black body here and here, and I'm thinking that doesn't sit right with me. So I'm going to block that out.
Okay.